this lesson will cover designing a metal boat hull using SOLIDWORKS sheet metal features. So I've opened up SOLIDWORKS. I need you to open up SOLIDWORKS and then follow along. When SOLIDWORKS launches, we're going to go to File and go to New, and we're going to create a new part. Once you get the part file started, we're going to go here to our settings. Oops. And we're going to go to Document Properties. Hit the Document Properties tab, and we want to change it to ANSI Standards. We're going to click on the units and make sure that we are in inches, and then we're going to take it out till 3 decimal places. This will set up our document, make it easier for us to draw. Hit OK. Now we're going to draw, and we're going to use the sheet metal tab. And the sheet metal tab isn't shown on my list of options right now. If you click here in this along this gray bar and you right click, you can simply find the tab that you're looking for. We're looking for sheet metal, and that will appear now as an option for us to choose. Click on sheet metal tab, and we're going to start with our base flange, and this is asking us to select one of the planes to draw on, and we're going to select the top plane. And it's going to square it up for us. We're going to start by drawing with a center line off the origin. So make sure you click directly on the origin, and make sure that when you create this line it is perfectly horizontal. Go ahead and click. Now we're going to activate something called the dynamic mirror command. So we're going to come up here under commands, and if you just type in DY, dynamic mirror entities will show up. We're going to go ahead and click on that and come back over here and launch our line command. Now when we click, I'm going to click on the origin again and go up, and don't worry about how long it is. You'll notice it's drawing 2 lines. I'm going to click again on the end of that line and take it out somewhere. Make sure your center line that you drew turns orange. Doesn't really matter exactly where you put it right now. Just make sure it turns orange. Okay, now we've created a triangle. We're now going to come up and dimension this. So if we click on this line, we're going to add a dimension of 3 inches. And we're going to click on the origin and take it to this point, and we're going to make this 14 inches. This is going to be the length of our hull. And we're going to hit check OK, and then we're going to exit our sketch. Now when we exit our sketch, the sheet metal feature is going to ask us how thick this material is, and we need to tell it we're going to use the gauge table. So when this dialog box comes up, go ahead and click on the Use Gauge Table, and then we're going to select the sample table using steel with English units. If I'm going too fast, you can pause and rewind the video. Once we've loaded this table, we need to select the gauge that we want to use for this boat, and we're going to select 18 gauge. For whatever reason, the computer seems to be running slowly today. Hopefully this is going faster for you. Okay, once this launches, we now can select the gauge, which represents the thickness of our material, and we're going to set it to 18 gauge, and we're going to leave these other variables alone. Hit OK, and now we have the bottom of our boat. Next we're going to draw a line down the center, creating a new sketch so that we can do a sketched bend. So we're going to go ahead and click on Sketched Bend. Click on this surface. It's going to launch a new sketch. We're going to grab our line tool, and it's really important that we select right on that origin, get the orange dot, and then on the other end we want to zoom in. You can scroll using the middle button on your mouse, and we want to get point right on the end here, so we're going to get that other orange dot. It's really important that you select those 2 points. Okay, and then I'm going to hit the escape button on my keyboard, get out of this line command, and I'm going to exit my sketch. Exiting the sketch has launched another dialog box, and the first option is blue here. It's telling me select which side of this line you want to stay fixed and which side do you want to bend. So I'm going to pick the upper part of the triangle. Just click right here and it's going to create a black dot on that side. Now you'll notice that the default is to bend this at 90 degrees. We don't want to go 90 degrees. So we're going to set this to 15 degrees, which is going to represent the bottom of our hull. And I'm going to hit OK. Alright, next we got to create a plane down the center of this boat because we're going to mirror our features. We're going to draw one side and then mirror it over to the other side. So creating this plane is not hard, but it's important that you follow my steps exactly. So you're going to go over to the Features tab here and you're going to select Reference Geometry and hit Plane. Next you're going to zoom in real tight to this portion of your hull, and again I need to click so I get right on that orange dot that represents the middle of that point right there, and then on the bottom here I need to click this orange dot, and now we need to scroll out and then scroll in on the front part, and we want to click right on the end. Okay, by selecting those 3 points we've established a plane. So we have a new work plane, so we're going to hit OK, and you'll see that we have plane 1 here. I'm just going to rename this and call it midplane, and this midplane should be created right in the middle of our hull. Now it looks really skinny right now. If you want, you can just click on it and grab these blue dots. Not that it really matters, but you can just get a feel for that. That plane represents the center of our boat. So next we're going to add some flanges onto the boat to create the sides. So I'm going to go back to my sheet metal tab, and under sheet metal we're going to select edge flange, and we're going to select this edge right here, the upper one. I'm just going to drag up a little bit. Doesn't matter how far you go right now because we're going to hit Edit Flange Profile. Now you can see that there are these green lines that are telling us that these lines are set to be vertical and horizontal. I want to click on these and get rid of these so we can change the shape of the side of our hull. I'm just literally clicking on them and hitting the delete button. Then I'm going to grab this blue dot and drag it forward and up a little bit, and now we're going to add some dimensions. So you can add dimensions by clicking on the Smart Dimension tool. I'm going to click this point right here and this point, and I want to be careful when you pull out the dimension. I don't want this dimension. I want it to be along the side, and I want to set that to be 2 inches, 2 inches tall. We're going to come on the back side, and while we have the dimension tool still, we're going to select these two, and we're going to make this 1.5 inches tall. Now we're going to click this line and this line, and we're going to create an angle of 110 degrees for the bow of our boat. Excuse me, 115 degrees. Alright. So I'm happy with that. Actually, I'm going to add one more dimension. I'm going to make sure that this is set at 90 back here. So we're going to set this angle at 90 degrees, and we'll just keep it at that. I'm going to hit Finish, and hopefully we'll have a side of the boat here. Now, what I forgot to do is set my angle of my flange. It drew it at 90 degrees, and that's going to create an interference issue with the bow. So we can click on the flange itself, click once with the left mouse button, and then you're going to go up to here to where it says Edit Feature. And what we're going to do is change this angle to 80 degrees. We may need to adjust it again, but I think 80 may work for us. And I'm going to hit OK. Now if we're lucky and we drew this plane correctly, and we followed the steps for this flange, we should be able to now mirror this feature. So I'm going to go back to the Features tab, and I'm going to select the mirror option. It's asking me what plane do I want to use for my mirror plane, and I'm going to select that midplane that we created. Then it's going to ask me what features do I want to mirror, and I want to mirror this edge flange. So I'm going to go over here in my design tree and click on that edge flange, and you're going to see that it's going to make another copy on the other side. Now we may get an error message, and we may not. It says the part intersects itself after the bend operation. I'm going to say close. So if we go up here and look at the bow, we're going to see that this part, these two parts intersect each other. So that angle that we selected of 80 degrees is not going to work because we can't have these two parts overlapping each other. Now there's a couple ways to change that. We can go into Edit Flange. For one, we may want to change the flange offset and see if we can get the flange. This button right here will bring the flange out a little bit. Let's do that first and hit OK. And I'm going to hit close. That's much better, but we still have a little bit of interference there. So now I'm going to go back to edit that feature one more time. And if I remember correctly, something like maybe 80.3 degrees might be what we need. I'm going to hit OK. Now, it's still getting interference. Actually, I went the wrong direction. Apologize. We need to go the other way. So let's edit that, and we probably need 79. Let's call it 79.6 and see what we get. Hit OK. No error. And there's just a tiny little bit of a gap there, but when we actually build the boat, that shouldn't be a problem. Alright, so we've got the bow done. Now we're going to take on the stern. We're going to grab the sheet metal tab again, and we're going to go to Edge Flange. We're going to click on this guy right here, and where it says flange length, we're going to click and go up to vertex, and then we're just going to click on this little point right here. And now you'll see that this flange is not really at the angle we need it to be. It's bent in and it's cut in here. So we're going to click that out. Actually, we may need to take it out to the middle one. So select the middle option here, which is going to give us room for what we need to do here. And it looks like this flange may need to be bent just a touch more than 90. Say, see what 91 does. In reality, we can bend this to whatever we want. So I'm going to hit OK. We're going to need to edit this flange profile now so that it fills this gap over here and comes straight up from the middle here so that they don't intersect. So let's see if we can use Edit Flange Profile. Once again, we're going to need to delete these green squares, and see if I can grab this now and bring it out to here. I'm just going to do this by eye, and let's see. I want to look at my boat kind of square on here. Let's see if I can pick a plane that's going to, if I look square on my front plane, that'll help me out a little bit. Alright, so this line, I'm looking at the back side though. This line wants to come in to here. And flip the boat around, take a peek. That actually looks pretty good. I'm going to hit finish. Now we may need to edit this one because it may interfere in just a minute. We'll see. So that looks pretty good so far. Let's see if we can mirror that feature now. So we're going to go on to features and hit mirror and select our plane, and then select our flange was already selected, so I'm going to hit OK with that. That looks pretty good. Alright, we're going to create another flange that's going to go on the inside of this, that's going to tie these together. So, but before we do that, I think we should hit save, because we may have to revisit this. Some of you may be finishing this lesson in a couple days. So I'm going to go to File and go to Save. You may have a folder in your documents. I've got a folder on my hard drive, my lessons folder, and I'm just going to call this, I suggest you name this last name, first initial, we'll call it boat hull, and hit save.